We are continuing to investigate the shooting incident that occurred early this morning. However, this is a complex and fluid investigation, and at the moment, we have more questions than answers. Here is what I can tell you. At approximately 5 a.m. Thursday, January 1st, 2015, we were called to a residence in the 1900 block of 36th Street Southwest for reports that shots had been fired at a house party where more than 50 people were in attendance. 7 people have been treated for gunshot wounds. One of the shooting victims, a man, remains in life-threatening condition. The other 6 victims have injuries ranging from minor to serious but stable. There were both male and female victims, and their ages range from their 20s into their 30s. Our investigators have spoken with a number of witnesses. However, it's believed many more have yet to come forward. The witnesses who have been spoken with thus far have identified themselves and others at the party as members of African communities. Right now, what is key to this investigation is information from people who may have been at the party or in the area at the time, or anyone else who has relevant information to this investigation. We want members and leaders of African communities to know that our investigators are working hard to find the person or people responsible, but we can't do it alone. We need your help. Anyone with information is asked to call our non-emergency number, the Homicide Tip Line, or Crime Stoppers. Members of African communities are also encouraged to contact the Diversity Resources Liaison Officer at 408-428-8161. So that's my prepared portion, and if you're happy with it, we can go into questions.
What can you say right now about the motive for this attack?
The motive remains under investigation. It's unclear what the motivation for this incident was.
But you do believe it was targeted?
We don't know what the motivation was. It was isolated to this house party, but as for motivation, I'm sorry, no information at this point.
What happened? I mean, what is the chronicle chain of events?
At 5 or a couple moments after 5 a.m., we received reports of gunshots and responded to the residence. What occurred within that residence right now is what our investigators are trying to determine.
Can you speak more with this individual on life support? Obviously, there's been some people who said that the person was deceased, and that's because this person's on life support, or can you clarify?
I can't clarify, I just know that he remains to be in serious condition.
Is he expected to make it?
I don't know. Sorry, I can't offer any information with respect to that.
Are witnesses being cooperative?
Yes, they are. But we're still asking for anyone else who may have been in the area or at that party to come forward and assist with the investigation.
Are some witnesses not being cooperative? That was information we got earlier today, too.
I have no information to that end.
So everyone's cooperating?
That's my information, yes.
Okay, can you speak more? I guess some family members are speaking about this, the one victim who's in serious life-threatening condition, that he was shot in the head. Can you speak more about
I'm
that?
sorry, I have no idea where the injuries occurred.
Can you talk about, just forward to what Bill asked before, did someone come in and just start shooting? Just sort of take it to what the picture you have of what happened, as far as you know, just the actual scene.
As far as I know, it was a shooting that occurred within the residence. How it unfolded or what the cause or catalyst of that was remains under investigation, and I'm sorry I can't provide greater detail.
The information we were given is that there were victims inside and outside the home. Is that conflicting because you say you believe it happened inside the residence? So what do you know about where people were when you arrived?
I can't clarify because, as I said earlier in my prepared portion, this is a very complex and dynamic. So our information at this time is that the shooting occurred in the house, but certainly there's other avenues that may develop during our investigation that we'll be exploring.
Like, do you think there was more than one gunman, or just one?
I have no information about the number of people that may have committed this offense.
How important is it for you that you speak with more witnesses?
It's very important because everyone's going to be able to offer a different perspective on what occurred, and in order for us to do a comprehensive and complete investigation, we'd like to speak with everyone who was in the area at the time.
I was out there, you're also canvassing, going around the area, maybe just talk about that part of the investigation.
That's pretty standard in an investigation like this. We'll certainly reach out to members of a geographical community and see if there's any information that we may have missed when we initially responded.
How many suspects are you looking for?
Right now I have no information as to a number of offenders, so I really can't provide any greater detail, sorry.
Nobody got a look at these people at all that fired You don't have any suspect descriptions?
Not at this point.
Like, was it somebody attending the party, or somebody just burst into the party?
I have no information on who the offender may have been.
We've heard that there was a person nearby that was not at the residence who was grazed by a round fired from this party. What can you tell us about that? Would this be one of the 7 people shot?
I believe that's included in our overall a number of victims that received injuries is anyone who may have received any type of injuries. So he'd be on one of the ones that was non-life threatening.
That would suggest that there were shots fired outside this residence from the back.
That's
backyard.
That's certainly something we're going to look into during our investigation.
There's several vehicles that have gunshots, so was there like a vehicle driving by shooting as well, or do you know anything about that?
I don't, sorry.
Is that being looked at?
Yes, that's certainly something we'll be looking into to determine if there were vehicles involved, what was their role in the offense, and any information regarding the number of offenders if there were more than one.
Any ballpark idea on how many shots were fired?
All I know at this point is there's multiple. And I don't know how many that is. I can't even ballpark it for you.
What sort of investigation have you done as far as the victim himself? Have you looked into his criminal background?
I have no information with respect to who the victim is at this point. When we do an investigation, I can assure you that no stone is left unturned. Everyone's background will be examined that was involved in this offense.
Can you say if any of the people at the party were known to police or if that address was?
No, I can't, sorry.
So there have been, I believe, 9 deaths in the last 10 years on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Can you just speak to, are there sort of any is this a dangerous time of year?
There's no nexus that I can see to this. And I know the incidents you're likely referring to, and I don't think there's any nexus to what happened today. So I'd be reluctant to say if there's January 1st is a particularly bad day. Hopefully it's just a series of coincidences.
Well, I guess what I'm getting at is obviously there's a lot of people partying and drinking. Can you just speak, like, is alcohol believed to have played a role? I know you said you can't speak to drugs at this point, but...
This is something we'll certainly be looking into, whether alcohol played a role in this or not.
Do you have a message to people living in that community when you talk about a shooter or shooters still on the loose? What do you say to people in that area?
Well, it's important, and it's difficult to communicate this when we have had such a tragic event. But it's important to take a step back and recognize that Calgary remains to be a safe community. And I know that sounds difficult right now to appreciate that, but gun violence is on the decrease, and incidents like this, while they are profound and they cause concern, they still are relatively isolated. And again, I'm not immune to the fact that there was an incident in Edmonton a couple days ago. So it's difficult to communicate that message right now, but I firmly believe that Calgary is a safe community.
But in terms of a shooter going to a house party who may have known these people in that community shouldn't be concerned that this might happen again.
People in that community, I think it was just that offense took place because the wrong group of people congregated in that place. So if I was a member of that community, I would try and take comfort in the fact that this was a one-off, and I don't think that this violence speaks to any sort of elevated risk in that community now that it's occurred.
But you would say this was targeted to that community? Like this isn't random?
When you say community, which...
Well, like the people at the house?
I have no information about what the...
Like somebody who just burst in randomly and shoot, or was the person that was the victim targeted?
I have no idea.
So you're not saying random versus targeted yet? You can't say?
I can't say.
The name we've been given of the victim matches the name of one of the guys arrested in Project Traveler, Toronto last year. This is the crack in the guns. And the
Okay,
do you have any?
No, sorry, I have
That's not
no
something
information on who the victim was or was not. Sorry.
So when officers arrived, did a lot of people stay to talk, or were there people that fled, and that's who you're looking for in terms of witnesses?
I don't know how many people remained at scene. I'm sorry, and that's certainly something that will become crystal clear as we move forward in this investigation.
How do you believe these African leaders that you're trying to reach out to will be able to help?
Well, we want to encourage the cooperation of these African communities, And we work closely with the African communities throughout the year on a variety of initiatives, good initiatives, parades, community events, as well as when there's crimes in those communities. So we would certainly hope that they would be influential in helping people come forward and speak with us.
What's next for the investigation? Do you still have some of these 15 witnesses that you brought here this morning in for questioning? Are you still looking for people to come forward? What does tonight look like for this investigation?
Right now, our primary emphasis in this investigation is to speak with people that were in the area or may have information. What that will translate into in the days coming, I can't tell you.
Is 15 the correct number for the people, the witnesses?
Sorry, I have no information how many people have been spoken to.
Sorry, I'm making you repeat yourself. Did you say possible gang connection? You're not sure at this point if this is...
We have no information,
Targeted, but not as far as-
no idea whether it's gang related or not. That's again something that we'll be looking at in terms of trying to determine a motive for this offense.
So what units are all investigating right now?
Well, our homicide unit for certain. Lindsay, do you have any information about who else?
Multiple units involved.
Yeah.
Is your gang unit investigating?
You know,
Not to my knowledge.
not to our knowledge, no. And certainly the district in which this occurred is providing all the uniformed personnel.
What have you heard from first responders, police officers who first showed up to the scene? Are you able to shed light on the scene at all?
I'm not, sorry. I didn't speak with any of the first responders. I mean, many of them are still there. As again, this is an hours old investigation, so we haven't really had a chance to sit down and reflect and discuss what happened this morning.
Should we expect an update tomorrow?
Yes, there's going to be information coming as our investigation develops.